This is AI.R. Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City. Hello, I'm John Cullum, and this is Emily Frankel.
Your wife.
Really?
Yep.
Yep, that's my wife, Emily Frankel. And she's written a post, and then we're going to try to discuss it.
We're going to talk about it. The post is called Striptease.
Right. Now, what is a striptease?
Striptease, as you know, is a burlesque act in which a performer removes his or her clothes piece by piece. Andre Agassi, a tennis hero whom we both admire for his tennis, takes off his clothes in his autobiography. The title of the autobiography is Open. And when he's writing this book, he's revealed sad, unpleasant things about himself and everything that he's achieved.
Yeah, well, I've known Agassi since he was 17, and every time I've watched him play, he seemed to be enjoying himself, getting a great deal of pleasure out of what he was doing. So I don't know what he's complaining about.
Well, here's what I wrote. He tells us he can't live with the lies and untruths and the misconceptions about himself as a hero. He implies that the only way he can enjoy life and what he achieved is by stripping away the lies.
What lies? Now, what is he talking about?
Dominating, driving father tied paddles to his hand, made him swat at anything that moved. Took him out of high school because it interfered with his tennis training.
Well, that's not very good. I understand that. But I don't understand how all this exposing himself does any good for him.
Well, at first I thought he was doing it to sell books, gain attention for himself and his projects. And then I started wondering if he was maybe doing it because he wanted to grow up all over again and be a hero without his daddy's dreams, without his daddy behind him, turning him into a winning tennis machine.
Well, that makes sense. But now this is what you wrote. This guy is a grown-up and wise. He knows what it means to be on the center court with those thousands of eyes watching his every move. Andre Agassi was the #1 tennis player, Emily, for many years in the whole world. So,
well, John, he shopped this book in 2007. So it's been brewing for a long time. This desire to tell the truth and put an end to the lies.
Yeah, well, lies have roots, as you say in the blog. And roots don't have a tendency to die so easily. They have a tendency to spread out.
Yep. And a naked Agassi is out there, revealed.
Yeah, well, what about his family? I mean, he's got 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and Steffi Graf, a great tennis player herself. I mean, they're a devoted couple. I mean, what?
Well, it's like an unfaithful husband. A guy who tells his wife about some passionate love affair he had. After it's over, his conscience is eased, it's over and done with. But not for her. Will she ever be able to trust him again? How can she forget how well he deceived her and put on an act and brilliantly lied about another woman? Oh, yeah. Time will pass and we'll hear more about the great things Agassi is doing with the projects for young people, his foundations, and his schools.
Yeah, he's done a lot of wonderful things, but the tennis hero himself, his athletic achievements are all going to be tarnished. I mean, they're all kind of out of focus and messed up.
It brings to mind what happened with Elizabeth Edwards when she wrote her book, Resilience. Our view of John and Elizabeth during the campaign. Now he's out there naked, selfish, cruelly disloyal. Yeah. And his sex life is exposed.
Side by side with the altruistic, interesting, good ideas, charitable ideas that he sold us on.
Well, Elizabeth needed to express what she expressed, and they're both out there now.
Well, if they try to sell us again on being the devoted couple, people are not going to believe it too easily.
Nope. We won't. The loving couple was a lie. It's sort of like Jenny Sanford and her husband, Governor Sanford, who droned on and on and on about that love affair he had with an Argentinian lady.
Well, don't tell me Jenny Sanford's going to write a book.
She might.
I
She
wouldn't.
doesn't sound like she's going to, but publishers are very seductive.
Everybody wants to write a book.
With a ghostwriter and a lot of money and lots of sexual specifics, a lot of money can
That
be
will
made.
sell the books.
And Governor Sanford is going to be out there naked.
I don't see how he can be more naked than he is already. He publicizes himself all over. You know, maybe he'll resign.
Well, Bernie Madoff is another case. His mistress, Cheryl Weinstein, took off her clothes and Madoff's clothes and made them both very, very naked. And her book is selling its way toward bestsellerdom.
More nakedness. I mean, that should make a big hit selling movie. I mean, they could get Robert Redford to play Bernie Madoff. That'd sell some tickets, wouldn't it?
You think Robert Redford would play a part of a small man with a small penis?
Emily, couldn't you blank that word out?
It's in the book. It was written by the mistress, Cheryl, who had a tepid affair with him 16 years ago.
Tepid affair with a small penis. I imagine it was pretty tepid. Maybe, I bet you, he's always up for a challenge, Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, yeah, he'd be great, but I don't think there's going to be a movie sale. Maybe Ruth Madoff, the wife, will do a strip routine and tell her story.
Well, lawsuits are pending. I mean, she'll need something to get some money from somewhere.
And keep her penthouse.
That's right.
Everybody is dying to hear more ugly stuff about Bernie. More about him suffering. Maybe there's another prisoner, a burly brute who will beat him up, and prison sex.
Oh, well, that'll be a nice chapter in the book. And a lot of people will enjoy the idea of Bernie Madoff being made out with a big burly
Bernie
prisoner.
the honey bun. Maybe Madoff's sons or one of the
I
6
can't
lawyers.
quite feature Madoff as a honey bun.
Maybe his son will write a book, or maybe one of the 6 lawyers will write a book, or the widow of Madoff's dearest pal who died in their Palm Beach swimming pool. Maybe the widow will take her clothes off.
Gee whiz, you scratch a few more, get a few more people, you have a nudist colony. The truth is, all this stripping down, I'm sorry that Agassi had to write that book.
I'm sorry Elizabeth Edwards had to do hers.
But it ain't good, all this striptease.
I did it in my dancing days.
You did not. What do you mean you did it? You didn't dance on stage.
I wore naked bodysuits. It was okay when I was dancing Electra. I covered myself with a robe whenever I was off stage.
Oh, it was all right for the paying customers to see you dancing around in your buff, but not for those innocent, burly backstage hands that were always ogling you anyway.
Well, it was back in those dancing days of mine. Yes, these days, I know, and you know, everyone is telling and exposing themselves, and nowadays nobody cares about somebody in a naked-looking bodysuit. John, do you want to read Agassi's book or Madoff's lady's book?
No.
I don't. Well, as I get older, I guess I'm just getting more prudish.
And prudent, and more selective in the way that you spend your time. And hopefully, me too.
Anyhow, stripteasers doing their thing are mostly 90% boring.
Boring, yes.
Ho-hum boring.
This is AI.R. See you next week.